Well, Grassland Rangeland Enhancement Program was formed back, the first, I guess, question was put to Columbia Basin Trust, which was an organization I worked for at the time. How could Columbia Basin Trust help the ranching community? So KLA approached Columbia Basin Trust about 2009, and actually I think the first request was for $50,000. If Columbia Basin Trust would just give us $50,000, boy, that would go a long ways to helping us out. GREP has received $4.1 million to date from Columbia Basin Trust. The ministry has put in about $1.75 million. Now this is since 2010. And ranchers themselves, because they have to dig into their pocket, have put in $1.25 million. So we've got a program that's, we're in our 14th year, but it's invested over pretty much close to $7 million in infrastructure.
Yeah, so a range tenure holder is somebody who's been awarded a piece of land to manage for their cattle. And so they're awarded it through the ministry with a set of expectations, reporting necessary, and also infrastructure management. So the goal there is that you are managing the infrastructure to be able to manage your animals accordingly so that you're sharing the landscape with industry and with recreationalists, wildlife, and domesticated cattle.
Prior to the start of the season, we'll have a schedule go into the Ministry of Forest. It's our rotation schedule, and they approve that. And there's a particular stage of grass development when you can turn out, so this turnout date is flexible. So they want a development stage of the grass, so it's not going to be impacted too seriously when you start. And then there's a point where you have so many AUMs that you can use in that particular pasture, and then you move on. And we're part of it is to manage the resource for cattle, for industry, for local food production and food security, and also for the wildlife resource as well, to leave enough for them to winter. So we'll move from one unit to another on the schedule that we've submitted to the forestry, unless there's some extenuating circumstances that might change that. The other aspect of GREP too is with the cost of materials, whether it be building a house or anything you do, that the materials are out of the scope of most ranchers to be able to afford to invest in a crown asset without help from either the government or a program like GREP. And it allows you to build the fence properly with the right types of gates, and innovative projects as well, as we have something called bump to open gates, which quatters can use. And so it shows that we're trying to cooperate with the recreationalists, and we have no-dig cattle guards as well, that are another thing that, quite likely if you had to buy these innovative articles, you wouldn't be able to do it on your own.
I've found that with the support that you can get through that program to ensure that your infrastructure is in good shape, it is the whole theory of good fences make good neighbors. I've found that when I have good infrastructure in place, and anyone who has to go by it or through it that can be a positive experience, then I find they're that much more likely to respect everyone's needs on the landscape, and so it makes a big impact there. One of the initiatives from the GREP program is a rancher sprayer program where they work with the local invasive species council, the East Kootenay Invasive Species Council, and they work to train ranchers on how you get your pesticide applicator certificate, and then you go and you're able to spray the weeds on your own range and help weed management. Because definitely we're seeing an increase in weed spread on all of the ranges these days. And that's partly climate, that's partly traffic, that's many things that combine to make that issue. But with training these people to be able to spray, they have the intimate knowledge of the land. So they know exactly where the weed outbreaks are, and they can target them at the right time. And so that's a really important initiative that is brought out of the GREP program, which is therefore funded by Columbia Basin Trust and the ministry. So really positive initiative.
Another thing GREP's allowed us to do recently is drill a well on our range. When we're with the current drought and climate change and that, we had a creek that, when I got here in the early 80s, you would see water in it on a regular basis. It would actually flood our corrals out. We haven't seen water in that creek for probably 3 years now. it's gone underground. So, and we have the same situation on our range, one of our pastures. So GREP allowed us to drill a well, put a solar system in to bring water to the surface, and the benefits of that are many actually. It gives us a safe watering spot for cattle. The one water hole they used to have left was almost an ambush site for grizzly bear. It was you know, they'd get into the water and be focused on that. So it reduced that ambush site, and that was also an ambush site for wildlife as well. A lot of elk calves were caught in that area. So this off-site well allows a guaranteed water source. It stops the cattle from being in the creek, and you know, protects that riparian area. And it also is a source of water for wildlife and for firefighting if need be. Yeah, another aspect of cattle on the range is fuel reduction for wildfires. Grazing up towards the boundaries of communities, or say I have in my ranch area, there's a large subdivision down on Kookanusa, so the property values are fairly high, so fuel reduction is crucial for areas like that.
There's also the added benefit of conditioning the grass. When the cows go in and they're managed properly, they keep the grass at a really healthy height, and then it maintains, stays vegetative, it's sweeter, it's more palatable, it's higher in protein. And so there's that added benefit too, that when you are grazing wildlife and cattle in the same area, it inevitably creates a better food source for both. Yes, a big thank you goes out to both, the Columbia Basin Trust, the Ministry, the Cooney Livestock Association, coordinators like Rick Allen or his predecessor Steve Byford, or the person who started the program, Brian Zach. I think there was incredible foresight in this program to reach out to a funder that had the ability to fund projects like this and see the need in ranching and what it could mean to the community and to grasslands, other enhancement projects. I think that it was an incredible program to begin with, and I hope it carries on for a long time, because speaking from a range tenure holder, what I've done on the range would not be possible without GREP, and I'm incredibly thankful.